Okay, can everybody hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Awesome. And I totally made you guys listen to some of our songs that we're producing for our album. Okay, I'm super excited. Today we're going to have Gina and Funtaine talk to us about some amazing tips. I believe I read it was about building the business around having a busy family and how to use that to help with your business instead of use it as an excuse to not build a business. So first thing I want to talk about is Summit is coming up very shortly. It's like 4 months away or something like that. It's ridiculous how close Summit is. So if you are not registered yet for Summit, please reach out to me or your coach so you can figure out how to get there with us. We have a hotel. So I know I just had a new coach sign up. Man, he just signed up 4 days ago. And he already called in and booked his room for Summit. So he's super excited to go. He lives here in Idaho Falls. So it doesn't matter if you're brand new. This coach is only 4 days old, and he's coming to Summit with us. So I already started working him with another one of my coaches to pair up in a group of 3 to share a room to save costs. So just know that we can help you guys do that. So if you have coaches, not only yourself, but if you have coaches that need to get to Summit, not if they need to, everybody needs to get there. So I encourage you to encourage them to get there as well. And lead by example, get you there, talk about it, and work on getting them to go there with you. And then also make sure that you mark your calendars for your Super Saturday event, which is coming up in April. I'm going to be up in Canada for one on Saturday and one on Sunday. I'll be with Sean on Sunday and Gina and Funtaine on Saturday. So make sure you find where your local Super Saturday is. All you do is go to your Coach Online office. Once you're in there, you can go to the tab that says News and Training, go to Events, and there'll be a tab for Super Saturday, and you can find your local event there. Also, always reach out to your upline if you're having trouble finding one. We can help you locate one if you need. But those events are so key and crucial for you building your business. So make sure you get to Super Saturday next month. Mark your calendar right now, and then let's work on getting you all to Summit with us. We have 150 rooms, so it's going to be like a big Team Dynasty party at Summit. And I know we have a few rooms left, like 5 or 10 rooms, so we want to be able to fill those up and have you guys be in those rooms. They're 2-room suites, so they have free breakfast. It's Embassy Suites. They have free breakfast there. And you also have at night there's like snacks and stuff. I mean, we'll probably be at Summit during that time, but we have all that free breakfast as well. So it's really a good deal. So get there. Encourage your coaches to get there. I don't want to take too much time because I know Gina and Funtaine have a lot that they want to share with us. But I just want to challenge each of you guys to, when you're working on your business, never compare yourself to where somebody else is at, because we're all on our own journeys. And if you do that and compare yourself to other people, you'll never be able to become the true you, who God designed you to be. So make sure that you're not comparing yourself to anybody else, just comparing yourself to how you were yesterday and working on improving yourself just a little bit every day. If you strive for that and strive for excellence, just becoming better every day and then planting those seeds of growth in others, that's when you're going to be able to see things start to happen in your business. So I'm challenging you guys to believe in yourself, to work on yourself every single day. You know, sometimes we work so hard on others, trying to make them change and do things that we want them to do to achieve their weight loss goals, their business goals, when really what we need to do is continue to work on ourselves, develop ourselves, and be that example for others to follow so they can follow what you're doing and grow in their lives and in their business as well. Man, I say the key to success, and Gina and Fontaine will probably touch on it, is to make sure that as you're building your business, that you are just adding ridiculous value. That's what Miguel shared on our team call a couple of weeks ago. I mean, that's why many of my coaches have come to me. I could see brand new coach on here, Joseph Johnson. He watched my YouTube videos for 2 years. Like every single video I made on YouTube for 2 years. That's like hundreds of videos before he ever reached out to me. So he joined because he saw that value that I was continually giving. So decide to be that person for others as you build your business. And that's what's going to attract people to you. And when you be that person that continues to grow and adds value to others. So that's my little key takeaway I want to give you guys today as we're moving forward. And just once again, encouraging you guys to get to your Super Saturday, to mark your calendar, put a big X on it that you can't do anything but go to Super Saturday that day. Invite your friends, invite your family. I remember it hugely changed my business when I'll tell you a brief little story. My first Super Saturday, we started a fit club, and it was a joke. We made these iron-on P90X shirts, and they looked ridiculous. Like, I still have it. It's just ridiculous looking. We ironed on P90X, and we got to the gym, and it was only me and my first 2 coaches that I signed up to become an Emerald. And we were there at this gym that they let us use it. We paid $12 an hour, so we invested $25. We carried one of those old 32-inch TVs out of the back of the minivan, set it up in there on a chair, and it was just us 3 working out. We all invited like 10 people, but nobody came. And we just started working out. We had fun. But I remember my first coach, she said, "Hey, Scotty, are we doing Super Saturday in a couple weeks?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're doing Super Saturday." And I went home, and I was like, "Crap, what is Super Saturday?" Because I was there. We were brand new. It was like 2 weeks into coaching. But I went home and I Google searched it, found out what it was, and we hosted an event. We started one. It was just a couple of us. So that was my first experience. The next experience, we drove all the way to Boise to see what Super Saturdays are like. And it was a 5-hour drive, and 5 of us went down there in a van. We went down in the morning. It changed my outlook on the business. I met some founding coaches that have been in the business for the 4 years since it started. And it just really made the perspective bigger for me on what Beachbody was. Because it was just me in my hometown. I didn't know what Beachbody was aside from that. So it was a huge thing for me to first do my own Super Saturday without knowing what we were doing, just to have the experience and to just try it and fail, I guess, in some sort of way. We had 8 people there. Scared out of my mind to talk. Like, I took a picture of somebody I helped with P90X. I was holding it, and I had all the notes on what I was going to say. And you guys know me now. I don't use notes. But I had everything written out. And I was so scared up there, I couldn't even look at it. And I failed to even show the picture. I was like up there shaking and holding the picture down by my waist. And I never even showed the picture, the transformation story. That was like part of my whole goal. So the thing is to just do it, to try, to fail, to know that the way to get better is to just try. Just like, Funtaine played professional football. I played baseball when I was younger. The way that you get good at those is you practice the fundamentals every single day. I was a pitcher. I was one of the best batters. And the only way that happened is I pitched every day with my dad. I threw the same pitch over and over and over and over and over and over with my dad in the backyard, and then at practice. And then I went to the high school gym. Even though practice was in the afternoon, I went to the gym in the mornings an hour before school to throw pitches in the gym with others that were as committed as me. So to become great at something in football or basketball and Beachbody coaching, it takes just doing the fundamentals every single day. Nothing huge, nothing magical. And the fundamentals for you guys in this business is just the 3 vital behaviors. Practicing those things every day. You're never going to get it good at inviting until you just try it and fail a bajillion times. But the important thing is doing it, because then people know what you're doing. And as they see you change and grow, that's when they come back to you in the future. So that's what I want to leave you guys with today. But let's get straight over to Gina and Funtaine. You can see they have their baby with them, which I love because their topic is going to be based a lot about the family. Gina and Funtaine came to me wanting to become coaches, and they let me know, hey, we're looking for a network marketing company, and we believe Beachbody has all the values that we believe in. We believe this is a company that we could fully support and grow a business with. So from day one, they were in. They wanted to build a business with Team Beachbody and have been that way ever since. And trust me, Gina and Funtaine have had their ups and downs emotionally with their beliefs and where they're at. A lot of times from the outside, we look at this like everything's perfect. And I'll just let you guys know it's not for me. It's not for her. It's not for any of the other coaches. And, the thing about her, though, is that Gina and Funtaine have always been clear about their goals and where they want to be. Recently, I did a contest because every year I earn the Success Club trip for myself and then in my wife's business. So this year we did a little contest, and Gina and Funtaine earned Gabby's spot on the Cancun trip. So they're coming with 3 of their babies to Cancun with us in just like 3 or 4 weeks. So we're excited to spend time with them. I'm going up to their Super Saturday in Canada and over to Sean. So I'm super excited that they're here to share with you. The one thing I could just say about Gina, I remember from day one, she posted on Facebook as if she was the top coach in the company. It just looked like they had been doing this for like 6 years, even though they were brand new. And they've always had that. And that's why people are attracted to what they're doing. So I just wanted to share those things with you. They've never missed Success Club. Gina, you guys are, 2-star diamond, getting close to 3-star diamond. We chatted this morning, getting close to going into 3-star diamond qualifying. So they're doing some amazing things. So I know whatever they have to share today is something that each of us can learn from and then apply in our lives. So with that being said, Gina and Funtaine, I'm going to pass the time over to you guys.
Well,
okay. Thank you, Scotty. And thank you for the opportunity to host the call. It's been a little while since we've done one, and I get nervous every single time, even when we do our own team calls, just because I'm not a public speaker at all.
Yeah, for sure. But, Scotty, we just want to obviously thank you and say that we definitely, and I know Gina just talked to you about it, we know we knew we were on the right team, but, as of even more recent, we found out, man,
yeah, this is the right team
for leaders like Scotty, guys, we are on the right team and a team that's truly open to giving, and it's leaders like Scotty that we really appreciate, and that's the reason why we really enjoy this business so much. Yeah. Big reason why.
It makes it that much more exciting just to be a part of it. So thank you. And so, I don't know, I think I want to just start a little bit with, not how we got started, our story per se, but more so like Scotty said, when we signed up as coaches, it was funny because Scotty was literally just about to, I think he was just boarding the cruise ship for last year's Success Club trip. So he was without internet service for 8 days, but did send me a quick text. And I wasn't expecting it because we found him on YouTube, and I, was just signed up, and then he sent a text, and I said to my husband, like, oh, Scotty sent me a text, like, this is awesome. And he said, I'm just about to board the ship here, and I'm going to have like 0 internet for 8 days, but I will get back to you as soon as we get back on land.
But that wasn't soon enough for us.
That wasn't, no, we kind of were just ready to go. So by the time Scotty did get back, we had a logo created. We had our website up. We hit the pavement running. And just like you said, it was scary though to do that, right? Like on Facebook and announce that we're coaches, because once you do that, you're sort of like, you're going all in, right? You're telling your friends and family, this is what you're doing. And that big fear of what if I fail is always lingering in the back of your mind, because you don't want people to see that. But then again, the positive side of that is that it's the best form of accountability that there possibly is. When you say you're ready to do something and you make the decision that that's what you're going to do and you're going to be successful, just do it. Announce it and just hit the pavement running and just take it one day at a time. Do your vital behaviors, and the compound effect, I guarantee you it will grow your business. So that plays a huge role in our story. Like we're a family of 6. So there's Funtaine and I, and then we have 4 children. So we have a 12-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So our last 3 are all almost exactly 1 year apart. So it was a busy year. And so we've been coaches. March 22nd is actually our 1 year.
Almost a full year, yeah.
And it was a busy year because when we signed up, Paris, who's on the call with us today, was only 4 weeks old. And I was still almost 30 pounds. I was about 30 pounds heavier than where I wanted to be at. But I didn't let that stop me. It was just a matter of, we'll just lose weight while I'm doing this, right? And so it was a busy year adjusting to having a 3rd baby that was a complete surprise. She was a 100% surprise. We were not planning on having another one 2 months after giving birth for the 2nd time. But, she was a blessing, and it's just something we chose to run with. And so, we really kind of had our ups and downs as a family trying to learn our way through Beachbody as far as how do we make this work as a busy family. Our oldest is in soccer, and so he's tier 1, which is a large level of commitment, but thankfully, he does go to his dad's half the time as well. And Kendra, who's one of my coaches, is she's his stepmom. So we work together, and we work really well together in sort of helping one another there. And then we have the 3 little ones at home, and Funtaine works full time still. So, we definitely just made a decision that finding a system was the only way. Scheduling our day is the best way to get through it, even though sometimes I still feel like, I'm just glad I survived. by the time I lay my head down, but I'm sure a lot of moms can relate to that. But, you know, just coming from a household where one is still working full time and the other is home taking care of the children alone, and trying to build a successful business. Like, this isn't something that we decided was a hobby business. This is something that we decided was full time. You know, we plan on retiring Funtaine, you know, very, very soon here. So we have some big, hairy, scary goals that require a lot of work. And they do take some sacrifice. So before I don't know, I tend to blabber. I'll let Funtaine kind of cover a little bit, sort of start off the call, and then I'll go into what are some tips that families can do to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, so I mean, the main thing that we want to cover is time management and how to build this business around your family, you know, building that team, this organization. Because a question that we get a lot of the times is, you know, how do you do it? You know, how do you do it with all the kids, and, you know, when you're working full time, and all these questions, you know, about really boiling down the time management. And when we first started out, honestly, we weren't managing our time the way we needed to. We didn't have that system in place that we needed to have in order to really structure it so that we could have the success every day, you know, knowing exactly what we're doing going in. And so once we got that schedule down pat, that was going to work for us, you know, and what works for us isn't necessarily going to work for you. But once we had our schedule down, it made things a lot simpler for us. So one of the biggest things and one of the most important things that we realized going in is that we have to sacrifice something. So you go in, if you really are looking to build this business, you have to think, okay, what am I going to sacrifice? You know, and one thing that we knew for sure we weren't sacrificing was family and family time, because that was the reason that we wanted to build this business, so that we can have more time with the family. So we went in and we decided, well, you know, we could sacrifice a couple of TV shows, or we could sacrifice some sleep, you know, and that was my big thing.
Both.
Yeah, it had to be both, right? And so that was the thing for us. You know, we were sacrificing that sleep and sacrificing that, you know, those shows and those types of things, and making sure that we were still present with our children all the time while we're building a business. So so that was the first thing, is figuring out what the sacrifice was going to be. Once we had that, then we, you know, we went back to, okay, our daily activities, you know, the 3 vital behaviors, and making sure that we're doing those, you know, and Scotty has the 10 daily activities that we stay true to all the time, doing those 10 daily activities, along with the tracker, you know, the business activity tracker. And so we implemented a schedule from that. And so what worked best for us was, from a time management standpoint, was getting up early in the mornings to do our workouts first thing. And so we wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and that's when we get up, we do our workouts. But first thing that just to let you know, kind of to give you a little bit of a peek at how my schedule goes, our schedule goes. First thing in the morning is, when I get up, I'm listening to some type of motivation. You know, I'm listening to some type of personal development. That's the first thing, you know, and that's why I'm getting ready to go down into the basement and get our workout in, you know, which by the time we get down there, it's about 30 minutes later, 30 to 45 minutes. So, you know, I've had my PD time already started for the day. So at least 30 minutes, you know, and I always tell Gina, I laugh, and she laughs at me, is because I was listening to Les Brown. If you haven't heard of him, I love Les Brown. But I was listening to Les Brown, and he said one of the things that got me and that really stuck with me is, hey, don't tell me any bad news unless it's between 10 and 2. That's it. That's the only time. So Gina gets frustrated with me sometimes if she starts off a conversation. I'm like 10 and 2 if it's not positive. So that I need that time. So that's the first thing, and that we wake up with, and then, you know, we get our workout in. We make sure we get our power hour in. We start our power hour early in the morning, because once we have that done, we know that we've done what we needed to do exactly for the day, and getting our activities out the way, and the rest is just going to be added bonuses.
Yeah. So basically with us, I know getting up at 4:30 a.m. and we have this conversation with our team or our challengers all the time. It doesn't work for everybody. And it didn't work for me either because I used to be super cranky about it, but I was finding that with the kids, if I had time or if there was time in the evening, I was too exhausted to be able to really give myself. So it worked best for us just to get into the mode of that. So we get up at 4:30 a.m. I like to enjoy my pre-workout before we have our workouts. And so we have a good half an hour to an hour to do that, work on personal development. From my perspective, what I do is we have a Word document for everything that we do, basically our challenge groups, our curriculum we have in a Word document, as well as our training groups. So we typically have both of them run all the time, every single month. We run a new one. And during that power hour, the very first thing I like to do is, while having my pre-workout, is post into my challenge groups as well as our training groups. That way, if the day goes sideways for whatever reason, then at least I know that I hadn't left anybody hanging and they're good to go for the rest of the day. Try to get in 20 minutes of reading. I sometimes fit it in throughout the day if the kids are napping, but it works for Funtaine. And then we go get our workout in because we all know that's one of the major 3 vital behaviors is being a product of the product. But not only that, it just makes you feel good. It's that feel good, know you're doing something, taking time out of the day for yourself, and it's done and out of the way. Because I know that when the day gets super busy and you're exhausted, it can sometimes be that thing that's hanging over your head at the end of the night when you're like, oh, I know I have to still get my workout in. And, things get a little bit crazy and it doesn't happen. So that's huge for us, is to make sure we get that done in the first thing in the morning. And
we've tried it the other way. We tried to do it at nighttime.
Yeah, we've experimented. It just didn't really work.
Yeah.
But a big chunk of our business right there is done in the first 2 hours before the kids even wake up. And that's a huge part of our success. Once we were able to master what worked for us, and you guys will find what works for you. Everybody works different schedules. I know we have a ton of nurses that are on our team or on our challenge groups, and that doesn't work for them because they're working nights or crazy hours. But find what works for you, and when you can master that, you're going to know it takes a load of the stress off. You're feeling much less overwhelmed by what to do, what should I say in my groups? When you have a Word document, I know that Scotty has tons in the Team Dynasty group page under files. There's like a whole mecca of training, tons of things that Lindsay's passed down that you guys can tweak and add your own flavor to for your challenge group. And save it on your desktop or wherever and just go to it each morning, make your posts, and you're done. Do your personal development or get your workouts in. And you'll notice in a 2-hour period, you've got such a large chunk of your business, actually the most vital portions of your business, out of the way. And, it's still a juggle throughout the day because, our children are still on nap schedules, but they're trying to let go of it. And I'm just trying to hang on to it. But nonetheless, we try to have time for each other at the end of the night too. When the kids go down, we just, we'll sometimes sit together in the office and work on whatever there is left to do. As a working sort of blended family where Funtaine works full time and I'm home, he will be gone all day. So he can't necessarily check into the groups like I do. And so we tag team. And if you have your spouse or anybody who's in this business with you, it's really important for you two to lean on one another and sort of designate roles so okay, so you've got this handled and I've got this handled, and that just be an understanding. So Funtaine and I sort of run our business centers individually. So he aims for Success Club each month. I aim for Success Club each month. However, we still run our training groups together, our challenge groups together, and our team page together. And so I do a lot of the posts all day. And then Funtaine will come in and do the check-ins. He'll follow up. He'll love on their posts. And so honestly, it's not as daunting as a lot of people think it is. When anything is new, it seems very overwhelming. It's just like when we first took a look in the Coach online office, I got lost so many times in there for the first 3 months. So many times. But now it's like you just know exactly where to go. It's like anything in life. When you move to a new city, you feel lost until you find your way around. It doesn't seem so big anymore. And it's just like your business. And when you find a system that works, it's just going to be like clockwork. And you're going to notice that you're going to have a bit more time. You're going to get comfortable in certain areas where you sort of locked that down to expand and try new things. And
it boils down to the compound effect and the slight edge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you've heard of those books, right? The Compound Effect and the Slight Edge, 2 great books to read, right? But it's just doing those small things every single day, and they're going to compound, and it's going to add up. They might seem so small and so insignificant, but at the end of the day, once you're continuously doing them and you're staying consistent with it, that being the key, then it turns out to be such a huge, huge thing for you in your business. So that's what happened when we had the schedule down pat, and we're really working on it, doing those things on a consistent basis. It just really began to continue to take off for us.
Yeah, I never underestimate the power of the compound effect. It took me a while, and Scotty knew this. I had, like he said, I had a lot of ups and downs in this first year as a business owner, like a lot more than I think we even did in our first year of marriage. It was like, there was a lot, and because as a leader, I was learning a lot about myself, my strengths, my weaknesses. I was learning a lot about this business, my goals, what it required for us to get there. And personal development is huge. And that's why I think that just getting it out of the way is key, because it sets the mark for your day. And Scotty knows I had a pretty rough patch of, I almost want to say maybe not quite 6 months ago, but maybe between 3 and 6 months ago. And he knew I wasn't doing my personal development. And I think it was just obvious, but it's one of those things as a leader, you just have to kind of let them discover that. You could tell it to them until you're blue in the face, but they won't really get it until they realize what's missing. And so the personal development was key, first and foremost, in just keeping yourself grounded in this business.
Well, one thing I wanted to share is planning ahead. I kind of learned this with, I'm a recruiter. That's what I do in the daytime. I'm a professional recruiter. So, and one thing that I learned with it was planning ahead. When you're at the night before, what I end up doing to help me get going really quickly for the next day is I go ahead and I look at who I'm looking to invite for the next day, for example, just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. I go through, I love on some of their page, and I have those names down in a little spreadsheet notepad, just so I know those are the people that I'm looking to invite the next day. So I already have that ready to go so that I'm prepared for that. I have some of the posts that I'm looking to make already together and already planned out for the night before. So if I'm staying up late, that's the type of things that I'm doing, that I'm planning ahead for my next day so that the next day is easier for me. And I found that that's helped me out a lot, instead of trying to just fly by night or, just wing it to get it done the next day. It's a lot easier that way.
It can feel a little bit stressful too, because you feel like you're starting from scratch every single day versus the compound effect and things starting to roll into the following day. People are beginning to reach out. A lot of the times the invites that you're going to do are going to come back, weeks, maybe a couple months later. Really, honestly, like a lot of what happens now in our business are invites and things that we did 2 to 3 months ago. So I feel like it is almost quarterly. Like the work you put in now is going to come back in 2 to 3 months. It's just, that's one thing we definitely realized. Like I know in January, I personally in my business center reached Success Club 30, I think it was. And I didn't invite any of them. They all came to my inbox messaging, your posts are your credibility. So make sure that you're staying consistent with that each and every single day. Even if you just do one in the morning and that's all you can squeeze in, and maybe do one at night. I know everybody has super busy schedules, but with Funtaine, I do tend to remind him, like, don't forget to do your posts. That's a part of being, together in this business, is accountability as well. And we're not afraid to hold one another accountable at all. And we just have to remember that we're putting our business hat on for a moment, because, as husband and wife, sometimes
it's not always
I don't want to hear him tell me to do something or vice versa. But
yeah,
I do remind him, for business sake and for our goals, like, this is me trying to hold you accountable towards that for our family. And just reminding one another if you're working with your spouse in this business, if you're doing your business individually or together, you know, to really team up and try to support and help one another out, because he gets super busy in his day, and he, you know, with his job, he does sometimes have some really long days that can be super stressful. And, you know, he comes home, and I don't want to be that nag that's like, well, don't forget to do your business, but at least just do one post, you know, at least try to just get one in there once a day, if that's the very least that you can do.
Yeah. And speaking from my standpoint in having a full-time job, well, my job, it goes beyond, I'm not a 9 to 5. I don't have a 9 to 5 type position. So I have to bring my work home with me basically every day. And so a lot of times, like Gina, what she's talking about, a lot of times I have to come home and I have to still work to make sure that I'm getting everything done that I need to get done for my position. So I have to make sure, and that's why I made sure to choose sacrificing some time to make sure I get my business done. So while I might sometimes have to, depending on how much my workload was at the job today, I might have to stay up honestly sometimes till 1 o'clock in the morning. That's just me being honest. I have to stay up, 1 to 2 in the morning sometimes, just making sure that I can actually get some things done with my business.
I do want to say one thing though, is so that doesn't scare anybody off, because if you do the math, that's like 2.5 hours of sleep. And I don't work well on 2.5 hours of sleep when I'm home with 3 kids under 3. So I don't do that personally, but I do set a time limit. If I'm wiped, I say, look, it's just going to have to wait till tomorrow and I go to bed. However, what I encourage, I just did a YouTube for our team too, is just to make sure that you align your goals with your availability. So what that means is if you have some really, really, really big goals, and you must achieve those goals for whatever deep why you have for them, then you need to evaluate your availability and make sacrifices wherever required in order to achieve that. If you have goals, but you look at it and say, well, I'd like to make 6 figures in this business, but I'm not in any really big rush for it, then that's okay. You can align your goals with your availability. So you might not necessarily have to try to live off 2.5 hours of sleep. Like Funtaine really, really wants out of his full-time job. I want him out of his full-time job because I'm tired all day with 3 kids alone. I don't like texting my husband every time, they say something cute, or this one bit that one, or, and they want me to call daddy and tell him. Like, I want him to be present with those things like I am, because there's so many incredible moments. And I feel sad that he misses out on a lot and only gets them through text or photo or video. So those are a really big why. And we have decided I'm okay with missing some sleep. And if I feel like I'm dying because I'm like zombified right now, I will sleep in, because I can. That's the beauty of this business, is that you can choose to do that if you need to catch up. But if you don't have, some goals like that, don't get scared off and think, oh my gosh, like just for me to succeed in this business, I have to like sleep for 2 hours a day.
Well, no, that, and to further elaborate on that. So yeah, I don't do that every day. That's on, like she said, I have certain goals that I want to meet. So say for instance, you had a goal that you wanted to, invite 5 people a day. If I didn't meet that goal, for example, I was inviting 5 people, I didn't meet that goal, then that's why I'm staying up. I want to make sure that I'm meeting every goal that I set to meet each day. Because if I say, oh, I'll just add more tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll invite 10 because, I was going to do, 5 yesterday and I didn't do it. That ends up adding up, and tomorrow never comes because tomorrow's not a day of the week anyhow, right? So then it's going to be 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. And next thing you know, you didn't invite anybody for the whole week. So I make sure that I get my activities done. If I didn't do it, then that's why I would stay up. But I don't stay up like that every day.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we definitely evaluated what works for us. And at one point we did do a schedule that we typed out, we put it in a frame sitting in the office, but with kids, that doesn't necessarily work all the time. So that's one thing I learned. But what we could control is what we do before they wake up. And so that is our big time. Like, I'm sure our team notices, my challengers, it's usually 4:35 a.m. I'm doing my posts in the group. And then I can just kind of relax and do the rest. But I know that the interaction with them has been taken care of. The BAT is huge. I don't know if everybody's following the business activity tracker. We have a stack printed off here and really try to make a habit of it to check it off, because I got comfortable in my business thinking, I know what I'm doing, right? It's been a year and you're hitting Success Club and you're signing coaches, and then you kind of relax a little bit, but the momentum or the lack thereof does catch up to you. So the BAT is critical in your business, and we're always holding one another accountable to make sure that we get that filled in. If you can do it in that hour or whatever that 1 to 2 hour period that works for you, then make sure you get that done. Because that will be what's going to help build and drive your business forward. So working together, one thing I did want to cover, I don't know how many moms we have like on this call who struggle with like household duties and running a business. So I was one of them. I still am. For instance, I had like a pile of laundry I'm a major clean freak, by the way, super OCD. It's ridiculous. But
yes, she is.
I had like a big pile of laundry that was sitting in our room that needed to be folded. And I swear it was about a month's worth. And everybody would just kind of go and grab what they needed from there, because I really decided that I was at a place in my business where I really had to, put that aside right now and just work on the business, because things are getting really slow over here. And it's hard juggling that, because I felt like I was excelling in one area and really dropping the ball in another. And then I would mean to get to it. And, then my emotions would kind of be all over the place with the kids. And it's a little bit tough, but it's okay. Like, you're human. And I know everybody kind of goes through that. And sometimes we tend to like beat ourselves up and think we're, failing in that area, but you're not. This is a business that you're starting. And as much as I'm sure we'd all love to have the luxury of just being able to work Beachbody 24/7, that's not real life. And people have priorities, school, jobs, families, and things like that. So don't beat yourself up too much, and just get to it when you can, and just make sure that you keep your why in focus. So yeah. Maybe we'll open it up for questions. I might have missed something. I didn't really do a PowerPoint this time. I was a little bit unorganized.
Oh, well, no, we just wanted to speak from the heart.
It's already grown. I can't even keep up anymore. I just can't. So you guys can unmute yourself if you want to. I think we're like pretty.
I have a quick question for you.
Uh-huh.
So we did a team retreat, for our personally sponsored coaches in August last year in Salt Lake City. And you guys came. Why did you drive 15 hours to go to that? And how was your experience? Because I was talking about events earlier. I mean, you guys drove 15 hours to be there for like 2 days, and then you left a little bit early so you could make it back. I think that's an important thing to share with people. But
yeah,
why did you do it, and what did you take away from being at an event?
Well, first and foremost, I missed Summit. Well, we missed Summit. We signed up March 22nd, and Summit was it July?
It was June.
June?
Last year.
Yeah, it was June. So, so we weren't really at a place where, like, financially we could really make it just happen at the drop of a dime. But also I didn't understand the importance of it. And so I saw all these posts and what I was missing out on, and I literally just about cried a few times. And
you did cry.
Yeah. And then when we had the team retreat, it was just a non-negotiable to go to, because we already knew what we had missed out on by missing out on Summit. And connecting with your team is a huge part of the success of your business. And I'm such a stubborn person where I tend to really go through life thinking I've got this, I could do it myself, and in this business, you can. There's no saying that nobody is incapable of doing that. It's just that the way Beachbody is, and because we're such a supportive organization, and what we do as coaches, it's just critical to connect yourself with other coaches who are on the same mission as you. And there's a lot to be learned. But one thing that stood out, and it's so funny because Josh Halt, I don't know if he's on the call today, but he said something when we had our round, kind of like a round table that one day, and he said when we were having telling our story, he said one thing that was like, looking around this room, there was 30 some of us from different walks of life, different professions, different educational backgrounds. And we were all like, we all had one thing in common. And he said, you know, looking around in this room and the difference of people, like it's just proof that you should never, ever leave anybody out. Meaning invite everybody to this business, you know. You just never know whose life you can change. And that was huge. Obviously, you know, we adore Scotty. We got to chat with him. We've been on the team calls. And so we got to really, and we added some of the team members on Facebook. So we got to really know some of them like through Facebook and virtually. But it was just super important for us because we were all in. And we just knew that meeting the team and, you know, connecting with them and learning what we could is what we needed as coaches, as new business owners, to be successful in this business. So,
So, and from my standpoint, what I learned, I mean, getting to events is, in my books, really a non-negotiable. You have to be to events. If you're serious about your business and really growing it, you want to get to every event you can. And not only you, but you want to bring your team with you. As many people as you can on your team, because when you do that, you will see how much your business grows. And it's because at events like that, we realized who it was that we were working with, who we were partnering with. We had somebody, you know, we had Doug from corporate come up and talk a little bit about the business, which gave us some big insight on Beachbody, you know. So we knew Beachbody and who Beachbody was in this company that we signed up with. But the depths of what we got the opportunity to see when we went to the event was just mind-blowing, because we saw people that were in this business for life, not for the money. And that was what was the biggest thing for me. It wasn't for the money. It was for the community. It was for the way it has changed their lives, from not only from what the workouts had did for them in the, you know, in the Shakeology, but also from what the personal development and the community of people that's positive in their lives had done to help them move forward from all kinds of situations that I was just baffled by,
and the
that they had experienced.
too.
Yeah, so it was an amazing opportunity to see, and we were so happy and thankful that we did that 15-hour trip. It was
worth it.
It was
for sure,
way more 100%. Than worth it. Yeah.
It was hard because our youngest was only 6 months at the time, and we had my grandmother stay with them for a couple of days so we can go down, and I bawled my eyes out. Like,
she almost had us turn around. I said, no.
Yeah, we were like an hour and a half south of where we live, and I was just bawling on the highway. Like, I don't think I could do this. But, you know, I prayed about it, and it was just, you know, like, this is what we want as a family, and this is what we're doing. And there was just no option. So we kept going. And we are so glad we did. And we'll do it all over again, 100%.
Absolutely. Just like we're doing. We're driving down to Nashville.
Yeah, we're driving down to Nashville, and that's going to be 40 hours, and I would do that a million times too. So that's because we're taking all our kids. We don't ever go anywhere without them. So, yeah, if you can make it down, I'd say you should, for sure.
I got a question, guys. As you guys know, Scotty just went through his operation, and I just went through my operation. But I found that going forth with time management has a lot to do with actually throwing your excuses out the window. And I want to know how you guys present that to your team to get them to do that. I know we do that as individuals, but you guys as leaders of your team, how do you get your team on the same level so we can do the same thing with our level? I know Scotty's done the same thing, but I'm really learning that I'm going to prove to my coaches and my challengers and everybody's watching me, throwing out the excuses is what's going to make things happen. So how do you guys present that to your team?
Well, we do our team calls, but leading by example is the number one. I tried at one point to like really talk to them about it, but everybody's at a different place in their life. And the throwing out the excuses, a lot would say, yes, I'm going to do, but But what those excuses are, some are just like, I can't get rid of that. Like, there's just no way they just don't see it for themselves right now. Leading by example was the number one thing. And that was a huge realization that I had, because you see some coaches and, you know, they'll tell you on your team like that, you know, why they're not having success and their frustration. And then they don't have time, but they're like Facebooking about their favorite television shows all day long. And you're like, okay, but you don't want to be that nag either, right? Because it can come off, it can come off a certain kind of way. And so just the positive reinforcement of what we do, like, this is what we're sacrificing, this is what we want, and really stay open about that all the time with them, because it's not received the best by everybody based on what it is they're going through. So you have to be sensitive to that. I think, Sean knows, because I went through a rough patch, and him and I had a chat about it at some point, and like not managing them, but just guiding them and being the example. So that's honestly like the big change that we've had, and it's made a big difference.
Yeah, you know what? So we didn't get in this business to have a boss, nor did we get in this business to be a boss. So I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, I don't want a boss. That's how I am. I've been that way since I was a kid. So, and I'm not here to be anybody's boss. So the thing about it is, just like Gina said, we are the examples. I mean, and that's
you'll
the
inspire
focus.
them through your actions and your success.
Exactly. And I was just about to say your success. So when you're, especially, let's say, you know, you don't want to get to the point where you're trying to force anybody to do anything, or you feeling that way. So when you're showing that you're still going, that the train is still moving no matter what, even if they're not on it, then the fun train is going, baby. So we got to keep going. We got to keep running. So then what we're just doing is we're inviting people, and we're bringing people into the team and onto the team calls. And as they see those new people coming in, and those new people, like a lot of new faces I see here coming in and having that excitement and doing these things, they get fired up and they do it too. It just, it grows from the bottom up, you know, once you just keep them going. So that's it.
It's so quiet.
Thanks for the question, sir.
Hey, I have a comment. I was just thinking about, as you were talking about that, because we've kind of talked about, you guys signed up, you know, similar to me. I took 8 months of being afraid to become a coach and not signing up. And then, you know, I signed up when I overcame that fear. And then I ran full speed, kind of like you guys have kind of run full speed. You've had it up and downs, but you've been always 100% committed to where you're going. You know, I want new coaches on here, and there's some ancient coaches like me on here on the call I can see as well, that not everybody is going to go that fast, and that's okay, because everybody's in their own journey. You know, Sean, you know, he's almost 3-star, almost 4-star diamond qualifying, and he's really just been building a business like 8 months now, like solidly, fully committed, building it. But he was a coach a full year before that 8 months even came to be. You know, he signed up like 2 coaches in his first year, and they quit. You know, they didn't stick with him, but he never had that full level of commitment himself. The reason, the why that made him actually commit to it. It wasn't a lack of commitment before. It was he didn't have a real purpose or something that drove him as a coach that in turn changed into a full commitment, which you see him at now in the way you see him run his business and moving forward. So, you know, if you have those on your team right now, like to answer Sean's question and add on to what Gina and Funtaine are saying, is it's okay if they're not ready right now, you know, because, I mean, that's how Sean was. And I see, you know, Holly on here. Holly Sharp lives very close to me. She's from way back in like 2011 with me, early 2012, you know, under her coach who ended up quitting. I remember going to a shake and share and sharing Beachbody with her at her home, you know, at her parents' house, I believe it was at, you know, when I was a brand new coach. And you know, and she never really built the business until just this year. Like things really began to click for her. She found her real sense of purpose and belief in herself, and now she's like almost a diamond. But all it was that sense of purpose. She got that sense of purpose, 100% believe in herself now, and then that's where the commitment comes in, where she's a fully committed, and now she's seeing the result of that by bringing on new team members and building her team. So it's okay if you haven't taken off running out of the gate. it's okay if you're not like that, because this is a process, and we're all, like I said in the very beginning, we're all on our own journey in that aspect.
Yeah.
But I could tell you what, once you become that person, I shared on a little video I made the other day. It was like an 8-minute video. It's like, and I was listening to it in a book by Zig Ziglar. He said, one person that's fully committed is more powerful than 99 that are merely interested. And so I think the important thing is, like, you can read that and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I think the thing is about it, because this business is about improving yourself every day and planting those seeds of growth and improvement in other people, is just ask yourself that question. Am I the one fully committed and full of purpose, or am I the 99%, the 99 that are merely interested? And if you are the 99, then I would work harder than ever on becoming the person that's fully committed, discovering, really identifying what your purpose is as a coach, your belief in yourself, your belief in the company, the belief in the products. Because once you do that, that's when you'll have that full sense of purpose. And then the commitment, you can become that 100% committed person.
And I think a lot of it starts like by being present on the team calls, national wake up call, and attending events. That's, if you make that shift where you are ready to be all in, make sure that that's one of your non-negotiables, because it's going to really connect you and kind of just, I don't know, put a certain level of like, I don't know, like life into your business and motivation and stuff. So that's huge. Oh, I forgot she had my phone. Yikes. Yeah, so it's just huge to make sure that you plug in, like the moment you decide you're all in, make sure you plug in all the time. I know for our very first national wake-up call, I had my 4-week-old on a baby carrier in the front, and I was like bouncing her, and the other 2 in the high chair, and I was feeding them, and I had headphones on, and I tucked my phone away so I could hear. I didn't realize there was the callback, so I was like trying to make it all happen at that moment. But now I listen to the callback. But it's just a matter of like making sure you try to absorb as much as information as you can.
I'd like to add to that, Gina. You're absolutely right. I've been in a rut the last couple of days. Pain has set in and stuff. And I'm excited to go again after just listening to your guys' call tonight. And that's all it takes for a lot of the other coaches, even new, old, doesn't matter. If you're sitting on the sidelines and you're just, I got to go do that bat. Getting on these calls is what fuels your fire. So I'm glad I jumped on the call tonight, because I wasn't going to. I was just going to let it slide like I have been the last couple of days. But I'm fired up, and it's all because you guys are doing these calls. So I just wanted to say great point, and letting the new coaches know that to jump on these calls, because they are so important.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like Sean said, you're going to have your moments where you kind of fall off and don't feel like you're failing. Don't feel like, oh, maybe this isn't for me because, it kind of lost excitement. It happens to everybody. This is not nobody's saying this is going to be a perfect journey for anybody. This is a real business, and all business owners go through it, whether you're a Beachbody coach, you own a pizza shop, you own a restaurant or whatever. So, don't let that ever discourage you from whether this is meant for you. Just plug it back in and just go for it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gina and Funtaine. Funtaine, not all of us have an awesome name like Funtaine where we can actually say the fun train. So I'm a bit jealous about that. But I want to say thank you guys for bringing your passion and excitement and sharing from your hearts today. I'm the same way as Sean. I had one moment. I was in the early 3rd year of my coach. I was like, no one would know from the outside because I was still reading my personal development, but I was in a slump. Inside, I wasn't excited. I hit some big goals. I didn't have really a sense of purpose to go to the next level. But the one thing that I identified on why I wasn't feeling in my groove, like I was in a rut, was kind of the saying I hear. Same thing Sean said. Lindsay's, I'm one of Lindsay's coaches, and all of Lindsay's 5-star diamonds and above, we kind of coordinate. We're like, hey, we're getting pretty busy now. What if we all just combine all of our teams? And, she had like 15 or so 5-stars. We're like, why don't we just each take a week? So we just, you only have to do a team call every, 3-4 months. And we're like, yeah, that's going to save time. But what happened when I did that is I stopped coming to those calls. We stopped our Thursday night calls. I started doing the Mondays, but I stopped going to them unless I was on it. And when I identified that's what it was, and I came back to doing our Thursday night calls, that's when my fire came back. Same thing like Sean said. So it's so important. This is just like Summit and coming to the team retreats and Super Saturday. This is an event. Team calls it an event. National Wake Up Calls are an event. So thank you guys for coming on. Thanks again, Gina and Funtaine, for sharing your hearts with us, showing us how real it is with your baby there, making phone calls and coach opportunity calls while you're doing this. You know, my kids are here running around. You've seen me run out of the office to go check on them a couple times. So it's real. We're just normal, regular people that are fully committed to our purpose as Beachbody coaches. I know seeing your faces here makes it more real for me than just seeing your profile picture and your comments in the Facebook page. And that's what these do for you. This business is real. You get to see people, see what they're about, learn who they are, and realize the lives that you're changing by doing what you're doing. So recognize that, and we will see you guys all next week on next Thursday's call. I'll have this recording up in the team page a little bit later tonight when I get home from the studio. See you guys later.